The Citizen Report is a production of New Shannon Media. All content protected under copyright.
And welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm John Shannon, and thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real in-depth American. Thank you so much for joining me. My co-host David Heller is off tonight. Well, before I get started, I just want to welcome our newest subscribers. I know there are a few of you out there that recently subscribed, and I just wanted to take a quick second to acknowledge y'all and thank y'all for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you like the show, and I tried to do a good job, but hopefully at least you benefit in some way. You learn something on each episode. That's my hope anyways. So on that note, as is par for the course lately, the headlines is just so numerous. It's so hard to look and know what's really going on. So what I'm really trying to do is point out certain pointers, if you will, what could be taking place. And there are some things that I can obviously verify, as is, and there certainly are other topics that I simply cannot verify at this point in time. I'm just continuing to kind of get this information from all these different places on the internet and such. And we'll just do the best we can to provide you with the most accurate newscast we can. But I wanted to spend most of my show tonight basically talking about where we're at right now and where we could be going. Because as we know, as you probably know by now, I do have a minority of you are actually viewers from outside the country. So just for the record, I'll just say that here in the United States, we just had the Electoral College meet in each of the several states. And basically, that's the constitutional means of electing a president. Actually, the popular vote is, that's to say, when you or I, as American citizens, when we go to the polls to vote, that actually is not what elects the president. What elects the president is actually the Electoral College. And that's why you hear a lot about the 270 threshold and things like that. And of course, there are constitutional provisions that provide what happens if there's no, majority, if you will, in the Electoral College. So, but basically, what you need to know is that in each state, as I understand it, the Electoral College gathered in each state and they cast their votes. Now, in these states where it's widely contested right now, where many people, including myself, believe that certain states that although purport to have gone for Biden, actually went for President Trump. Notwithstanding that, the Electoral College met and they casted their votes for Biden. Now, I don't know what the case is in every state, but I do know of at least one, maybe two cases, at least one for sure, where we had GOP basically have these alternative electors. So there is a lot of ways that this could go down. I do not think it's by any means over. I know it sounds bleak. When you look at the mainstream media, they want you to give up. They want you to feel defeated. And it's really a tragedy. It's a tragedy that we're at this position where the mainstream media has this kind of power they can yield against the American people. And it's really a tragedy that the very people that claim to be the free press are the same people that don't want you to think freely and ask critical questions about President Trump and Biden and this election. They want you to only believe their propaganda. Case in point, I studied. For years, I wanted to be a TV news anchor. In fact, I went to college to get a broadcast degree, to which I completed about 2.5 years ago. I could not sit here tonight and tell you with a clear conscience I could ever see myself working in at least most of the mainstream media outlets. There may be a few like Newsmax. Local TV is a little different, but here's the thing, even with local TV, they're sourcing a lot of their material from CNN, the Constipated News Network, and the AP, the Associated Press. And unfortunately, when it comes to national stories on the local level, there's a lack of original reporting, if you will. They source so much. If you listen, actually, if you pay close attention, I'll only spend a moment on this, by the way, but I thought it would benefit you for me to say this. When you listen, next time you're watching a local newscast or reading a newspaper, pay close attention to what they're sourcing, particularly of national interest stories. Not always, but many times you'll see AP or CNN, because those are the two big enchiladas. You have others like Reuters and such, but the AP and CNN here in the United States, those are the two really, really big ones that are sourced quite often. It's really unfortunate, but unfortunately, this is the position that we're currently in. So that's why you see alternative media, or really, and I know alternative media, the word alternative gets kind of, they try to use that in a derogatory sense depending on who you're referring to. But I like to think of it as just the real press, because the Founding Fathers in the Constitution guaranteed our right to have freedom of the press. And unfortunately, we're in this position now where we have a few big conglomerate corporations that control the news outlets. You have Viacom, CBS. I mean, if you even stop to think for 1 second how big these corporations are. Think about ABC. They're owned by Disney. Think about CBS. They're owned by what is now Viacom CBS. Think about NBC, owned by, I believe, NBC Universal and then in turn Comcast. And then Fox, although they kind of whittled themselves down in recent years, you also have to look at who's on the board. Look at Fox Corporation. At last I checked, Paul Ryan, a rhino, is on the Fox Corporation board. So it really shouldn't surprise you when you see Fox News going the way they're going. So I've already spent enough time on this. I just thought I wanted to take a few moments to address that, because I was kind of in my head for a few days thinking about the mainstream media and, how I wanted to go into, like local TV or something, like a TV news anchor, just regardless of the level. But we're in this position now. I didn't choose for the media to be like this. It's just the way it is. And it's just unfortunate. So at least for the time being, I'm doing this instead. I know it's low tech, but I believe me, if I had the ability to have like a control room and have all these different fancy things, I would absolutely go for it. But I don't have that capability right now. So, but anyways, I appreciate you guys watching as always. But I feel like I've exhausted that topic, at least for now. But I wanted to get to this. This just broke. It came to my attention only within maybe the last hour or so. Even though this was posted earlier today, like at 1:25 p.m., whatever time zone that was, from a Twitter user named The Patriot Voice, parentheses, 17 Anon John. It says, breaking. Rick from True News claims to have intel that @Real Donald Trump will be issuing a martial law in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and likely Arizona, as well, and fully secure lockdown all election facilities and assets. Marines have already been recalled for duty. This is not a drill. So, again, we don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if it was yesterday, but I was getting reports, at least in recent days. I was hearing reports, I was reading reports that the White House had basically evacuated its staff out of D.C. Now, at least one person on YouTube has come on and claimed that he had a source basically dispute that. So we don't know. Again, there's disinformation and then there's real information when it comes to all this kind of stuff, because we don't want the deep state cabal knowing what's really going on. So I just want to mention what I'm seeing in passing, at least. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, because we're in this position now. We are in uncharted territory. But I will tell you this. I do not believe for 1 second President Trump will give up this fight, because we know that China has basically infiltrated everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. In the halls of Congress, they have infiltrated. In media companies like Disney. Now, Disney, I'll say allegedly, because I cannot tell you for absolute certainty. So even though I'm a small guy, it's unlikely I'll ever get into trouble for saying things like that. I'll just say for the record, so I don't risk getting sued for saying that. I do not know, but I will tell you, I have heard others claim that Disney shares of Disney are owned by the CCP, the Chinese. So if somebody has any more information out there, as is with any topic I bring up on this show, please bring it to my attention, because I'm just like you. I'm just trying to go through this mountain of information, and it's really difficult for just a person like me to try to decipher all of this. But shifting gears here, this is confirmed, by the way, because we have it widely reported in the media. This is also a development from today. This is a headline from neonnettle.com. It says, quote, Pentagon suddenly stops Biden's briefings. Transition team locked out. And then it says, officials were not clear why or what prompted Chris Miller's action. Now, I will tell you, when I first heard of that earlier today, my first thought, what I first recall thinking, what was going through my head was that they figured out the military now has irrefutable evidence. They have reason to believe that Biden is not president-elect. He's not entitled to anything, and they've rescinded this. Now, something else that's running through my head as well is the possibility that Biden is so compromised by a foreign government, China, that they are using that as a basis to cease and desist from giving him briefings. I don't know. I'm just purely speculating on that point. What I can tell you is the Pentagon has stopped giving briefings. There was a report that claimed that they were using an excuse like, oh, well, we'll resume after the new year, or something to that effect. We don't know. We just don't know. We don't know right now, but I'll, keep an eye on this and let you know what else develops of it. But I think it's important for me to reiterate that we are really close to the precipice here. I think we are just about on the precipice here, where President Trump is going to have to make a decision, because he cannot indefinitely keep on just kind of waiting and seeing kind of deal. He is going to have to act at some point, because the clock is ticking. Because these deep state traitors, and that's what they are, traitors like Biden and everyone around Biden, they're going to try to get this man into office. So Trump is going to have to act at some point. What he's going to do exactly, we just don't know. I can look at the signs and the signs and the indications of what appears to be going on, but we just don't really know. And I know I keep kind of saying that over and over, but that's just kind of the way it is right now. It's real. We really are in that period of time now where I personally sense in my gut, I just have this sixth sense, if you will, that something big is fixing to hit. We don't know. I have heard reports that we are adopting basically a wartime posture right now. We do know there's widespread reports of military activity in this country, and I mean U.S. military, where they're moving assets around. I believe Nettle Air Force Base is frequently mentioned. They're moving. I think one person said that that they there was semi trucks going from like Missouri, or I should say like Kansas City or St. Louis, and they were transporting stuff, paying double, as I understand it, to get stuff to these places out west. Now, I don't know if it's a single place or what, where they're going to, like, what is it called? MRE, you know, the kind of military kind of food that, you know, you can consume. And, you know, do you know, I hope what I'm saying is making some kind of sense, because I just, to be honest, the terminology and stuff, I'm just no expert at it, but hopefully someone out there is in tune with what I'm saying, and they're aware, and they can let me know if I'm on the right track or not. Because again, I'm not personally sourcing this information. I am hearing from other people on their shows, and then I'm trying to merge all that onto this show. So I'll keep watching it, and let me know what you hear, because you are, ladies and gentlemen, you are my eyes and ears. I can only see so much on you know, from my vantage point. But if you have even a shred of information, get it to me, and then maybe that shred of evidence combined with another shred of evidence, when put together, they start to make a lot more sense. So, now we know that President Trump has given federal employees officially Christmas Eve off, except for people of having to do with, I believe, national security. And the 17 poster, the Patriot Intelligence Insider poster, we'll call it that because I'm still on YouTube. The only time a post was made on Christmas Eve, I believe, was one year was a picture of a painting showing George Washington crossing the river. You know, it's a famous painting. I mean, if you're an American, if you have any knowledge of, you know, Americanism, you know, that's hard to not recognize that painting, because it's one of the most iconic paintings there is of representing this country. So it's very interesting whether President Trump is planning a surprise attack on or sometime around Christmas Eve. We just don't know. We don't know. Again, we don't have a clue. And frankly, I don't want to know everything. Yeah, I want to know in a sense, but then again, it's like, well, then if I know, then they know, the deep state cabal. We want this to be a successful mission. And, you know, and I believe it will be successful, because I truly believe God is on the side of President Trump. And I don't really much care what people think of me for saying that. I truly believe that God is on the side of President Trump. And I am really of the opinion now that if you're out there claiming that Christians, you know, need to not be in politics, or, you know, it's just another election, you just don't have a clue what's going on. Now, I won't spend much time on this, because frankly, I don't think it's serves much purpose to bring this up. But as I understand it, Beth Moore, a Christian figure, has basically posted onto Twitter back on December 13th. Now, this is outrageous. I'm just going to read to you what she said here on her Twitter. This is what she said. I mean, if I was never a fan of Beth Moore, but wow, this really got me to be like, okay, I am definitely not a fan of yours, Beth Moore. But let me read what she said here. I do not believe these are days for mincing words. I'm 63 and a half years old, and I have never seen anything in these United States of America I found more astonishingly seductive and dangerous to the saints of God than Trumpism. This Christian nationalism is not of God. Move back from it. There's so many ways to look at this, but in short, if any of y'all out there are actually still paying attention to Beth Moore, I hope this is your wake-up call, ladies and gentlemen. You do not need to be spending one dime on her books. because she, frankly, doesn't seem to be very loyal to this country. And the notion that it is not of God to have Christian nationalism, are you freaking serious? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, it's like, the thing is that when you talk about, when they make statements like this, they reveal themselves. Because I am not judging her heart. I don't know. I can't read her mind. I'm not even judging her. But my point being is that I personally want nothing to do with this lady. And it's your decision to make, but if it were me, I would have nothing to do with Beth Moore. I'd get rid of her books if you have any. That's just my personal opinion, though. As I understand, she's not, some of the things that she says are supposedly true. I frankly don't know enough about her to say. But frankly, I got really sick and tired of seeing her pushed constantly in the Lifeway Christian bookstores. I'm a Southern Baptist, by the way, just so y'all know. So I have skin in this game. And for her to say this, this is going to be the undoing of, I shouldn't say that. This is really going to be a problem, I should say, for the Southern Baptist Convention. Having people like this, and I'll say this just more generally, I am so sick and tired of hearing Christians attack President Donald Trump when he was the first president in a generation to stand up for, to have a freaking backbone for Israel. Actually, the first president ever that actually moved, well, he was the president. He is the president that moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And the notion that some of these people out there are like, oh, Trump, he says things that I don't approve of. Are you kidding me? You're telling me you've never talked that way on Twitter or elsewhere? I am just telling you folks that you have, in my opinion, God's anointed, God's chosen president for the time as this, and yet you're attacking the very president that is giving you back your religious liberties. He's basically he basically quashed the enforcement aspect of the Johnson Amendment, as I understand it, through executive action. I need to get on to another topic, but I just gotta say, I had to address this, folks. And actually, before I do, I actually wrote on my Twitter, I retweeted her post, and I said this in response to Beth Moore. Here's what I said, quote, "So you're okay with removing God from America? You just revealed yourself to be a globalist. I can assure that you do not speak for me and many other Christians. We would have never won American independence if you were in charge. Just saying." I mean, I am not judging this lady. It is not my place to judge her, but I'm just saying, I am so sick and tired of Christians either not taking a stand or they attack Trump in some way, shape, or form when he is the president that is actually getting things done. So, on that note, I think I spent enough time on that. But shifting gears here, so the COVID vaccine basically has now, at least the Pfizer vaccine is beginning to hit mainstream USA, although the average person is not able to get it just yet. Like right now, it's basically hospital nurses and people of that sort, as I understand it. Now, a couple of interesting developments with that. Now, by the way, this is from a local mainstream media outlet, okay? KFOX 14 News tweeted this out. Quote, "Vaccinated or not, while watching the footage of the first 5 nurses in El Paso receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, KFOX 14 noticed a discrepancy when the second nurse went to be vaccinated. The syringe used was empty." Yeah. Isn't that interesting, folks? I don't even know what to say to that. I just kind of trust you to respond how you choose to respond to that, because I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, that's just outrageous, quite frankly, if that's actually true, by the way, if that's true, that it was really empty. Now, listen to this. This is from hat tip to Aaron Ness on Facebook for posting this, but this is a news clip from a part of a news clip from News Channel 9 WTVC in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So one of the local hospital nurses got the COVID vaccine, and I believe it's the Pfizer vaccine. In about 17 minutes after she got the vaccine, she passed out during basically a period of time where she was taking questions from the media there. I'm just going to play this for you. I know you're not going to see this, but I'm just going to play this so you can at least hear it. Well, you know what? Let me do something. I know this is extremely low tech, and by the way, I am going to be trying to work sometime next year on getting a monitor set up. If I keep going with this current setup, I'll try to get it worked out where I could just have a screen somewhere on set where I could just basically duplicate the picture, and then I could use that instead of having to do this ridiculous stunt of having to turn around my thing here. But listen to this, and I'm going to do my best to show it as well. And this is just completely outrageous. All right, here we go. Just 1 second. Let me make sure I get this full here so you can see it, I hope. All right, here we go.
Reporters to their hospital as they vaccinated their first group of frontline workers. This nurse was in that group.
About 17 minutes after receiving the shot, she took questions from reporters, and then this happened.
All right, so I'm sorry that happened to her. I really am. I mean, my heart goes out to that nurse. But I'm not trying to sensationalize this. I'm not trying to cause fear mongering, but I must tell you, I personally do not plan to take the vaccine, and I will not take the vaccine of my own free will. It's not going to happen. I mean, if Bill Gates wants us to get vaccinated, what does that tell you? Okay, do I need to even go beyond mentioning the name Bill Gates? I mean, it's just outrageous. Now, meanwhile, Brady Vaughn basically who was a founder of a vaccine safety website. She was an ex-pharma insider, and she was found dead. Now, I don't have a lot of information, but here's what this is a statement here as part of this article, and it reads, quote, now this is a quote from her. If something were to happen to me, Brady Vaughn wrote in late 2019, it's foul play, and you know exactly who and why. So I think that you would be well served to not get the vaccine. I know people are waiting; they want so bad to go back to normal life. But if you listen to the mainstream media, if you listen to the doctors that are basically been politicized, who are involved with deciding whether or not to shut down your business and such, they basically have said, look, we don't want you going back to normal anytime soon. We don't want you taking off masks. We don't want you, going back to normal life. And I think that it's absolutely 100% ridiculous. Frankly, we all need to really just stand up and just say, no more. We're going back to normal. This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, H1N1 was far worse than this. And did we shut down for that? Of course not. In fact, I think during H1N1, I'm pretty sure I got sick during that time. I don't know if it was from H1N1, but I don't know. But my point being is that you can point to things that were worse than this, and not really in that much into history either. I mean, 10 years ago, that's history, but not really either in the sense of pandemics. This is not a pandemic, folks. Not in the true sense of it, because You don't see people just falling, falling, passing out in the middle of the street, left and right and things like that. And also, I'm not going to say which hospital it was. I'll just say the local hospital, because I don't want, again, to open myself up to any kind of liability issues if the wrong person ever saw this. But I'll just say I went by a certain local hospital here in town. If you know where I am, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the emergency room parking, there's a parking lot immediately adjacent to the emergency room. And it was, give or take, about half full. Now, if this pandemic was so bad where we were just going gangbusters with the numbers, where people were being hospitalized or, positive cases. By the way, positive cases mean absolutely nothing. In a lot of cases, people, may test positive, but it doesn't mean anything. In terms of people that are getting hospitalized, I mean, like I was just starting to say, I I drove by, now it was like 11 o'clock at night, so I don't know how accurate I was, how representative it would be, relative to the daytime hours, if that makes any sense. But just suffice it to say, the parking lot that I saw was like maybe half full, and for the emergency room portion, and I certainly didn't see a line of people waiting to get in. Okay, this is how you know the mainstream media is lying to you. They want you to believe that this is the worst. Oh my gosh, this is so horrifying. I just went to the hospital I think it was last night. Well, I don't know if it was last night, but it was the last night or 2 nights. It was very recent, okay? But my point being is that it doesn't match up with what reality is, what the mainstream media is saying and what reality is. So on that note, I expected this episode would be kind of short, and I understand this is not exactly information intensive. This is more of almost like a commentary kind of deal tonight, more so than anything. I'll just go ahead and read you a few headlines from worldviewweekend.com/news. Here's a few headlines here. More on the religious far left's plan to target conservative Christians using a Biden administration. Another headline, Democrats demanding Biden clamp down on conservative Christians, remove them from public office, and re-educate Trump voters. Lieutenant General McInerney, John Roberts is corrupt. Biden should take a polygraph, Obama's deep state army, and George Soros. Will violence follow the election lie? The communists are at it again. Global corporations rolling out digital passports tying vaccine history to personal IDs. What's coming next under Great Reset? A nuclear Pearl Harbor in our future? Has Fox News and Rupert Murdoch known about the hammer and scorecard since 2013? How pro-Beijing communists almost stole the election for Joe Biden the old-fashioned way. All right, I think I'll stop there, but again, I expected this would be kind of a short episode. I don't really have a lot of, the information. The biggest information I could relate to you is the report from True News. According to True News, they are claiming to have intel that says that Trump is planning to implement martial law in certain states that were mentioned, like I believe Michigan, Wisconsin. I know those were the two that I remember in particular, but there were others. If you can go back earlier in this episode to hear which ones I named by reading what was on here at the time. But suffice it to say, we are entering a very, very uncharted territory, and I would just tell you, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I think it would definitely be wise to keep your tank full, gas tank full. I filled up my tank tonight. I probably would have done it anyway, but tonight. But I think we need to be highly vigilant right now. see something, say something, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the deep state's going to try to do. You remember in 2017 what happened in Las Vegas. We all know that wasn't exactly as the media reported it, shall we say, suffice it to say. Let's just say that it had the earmarks of the Deep State Act. I'll just put it to you that way. But you just need to be vigilant right now and just understand the Patriots are in control. I do believe that no matter what happens, President Trump will have a second term. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. How we get to January 20th and beyond, I have no idea. By the time I come back to you, it could be totally different than what way things appear to be right now. But as I just said, be vigilant. See something, say something. Probably not a bad idea to invest in a, old-fashioned scanner device that allows you to hear, frequencies from emergency management if it's legal in your area. I'm not sure if it's legal everywhere, but check your local laws if you want, just to have due diligence. But probably not a bad idea if things start to go sideways in certain metropolitan areas, to kind of be in the know without having to rely on the mainstream media or social media. You can hear directly from police and fire and all that stuff. And by the way, not going into detail about it, but I'll just tell you, Walmart sells one for about $80. So in I believe the automotive section. So that's if they have it at your particular Walmart, that is. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up here, but I just want to thank you for watching the Citizen Report. And just a quick programming note, I am planning to do a Christmas special. I will probably be back well before that point with another regular episode before that point in time, but just to say, I will be having a Christmas special. Last year I did it, and I'm planning to do it again this year, where I'm, reading from Scripture about the story of Jesus' birth. And I think it's a tradition that I did with my family when I was younger, and I want to continue that tradition at least on this show. So, anyways, I want to thank you for watching the Citizen Report. And by the way, if you like this show, I would appreciate you sharing this broadcast with your friends and family and let them know that this show is out there. I know I don't do the best work. I know that I'm just one person here. I have David Heller on occasionally, but I try to do the best I can, and I know it's not that great, but I appreciate, for those of y'all showing me support, I really do appreciate it. So lots of great things to come in 2021. I am planning to kind of amp things up with this show. Definitely excited about the future of this broadcast. I have no intention on giving it up anytime soon. I have no intention on shutting this thing down anytime soon. So, and I give all the credit, all the honor, all the glory to God, because He's the only one that deserves to get honor and glory. So, and that's just a fact. He's the only one that deserves honor and glory. So on that note, thank you for watching the Citizen Report. Don't forget to come to the website, thecitizenreport.weebly.com. I highly recommend that you bookmark that website. At some point, I will be getting another URL, but for now, that is our website. And again, if anything should go sideways, if you suddenly see me drop off the scope on YouTube, look for me on Facebook personally or on Twitter personally. Hopefully we can stay on YouTube. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, because YouTube, we're just in that time period where they're just probably going to start openly censoring pretty soon. So I invite you to go to our website and get on our text message notification system. And that way you can be notified of future episodes, certainly the important ones. So thank you for watching the Citizen Report. God bless each and every one of you. And I will see you right back here again next time. Have a good night, everyone.